the headline coming out of a recent interview that he did with the LA Times relates to his desire or lack thereof to coach long enough to become the all-time winningest coach. And I really hope, because we spent weeks, is he going to go to Amazon? Is he going to keep coaching? Is he going to walk off into the sunset? Is he going to leave for a while and come back like Dick Vermeil did? And I really hope that this doesn't become our new Brett Favre-style obsession where after every given year we spend a certain chunk of the offseason speculating on the future of Sean McVay. But he was asked the question about coaching long enough to catch the likes of Don Shula and Bill Belichick. He's 328 wins behind Shula. But, he says he has no desire. And at this stage of his life, he's 36. He's just getting married. He said in the past, he's got a family and stuff. He's not going to want to be spending as much time away from home as you have to if you're a successful NFL head coach. But also, good luck taking it out of your blood once it's in your blood and it's who you are.
Right.
And you look at Bill Belichick, it's who he is. So many people were dismissive of this idea that he's got no chance. He's got no chance. Well, he's 36 and he's got 55 wins.
Yes, right.
Bill Belichick wasn't a head coach until he was 39.
Right.
Of course he's got a chance if he's ready to give his life to it. That's the real question.
Exactly.
Are you willing to continue to give your life to it the way that you have the last 5 years? If you are indefinitely, then you will catch those guys if you average 11 wins a year, especially with 17 regular season games, eventually to be 18 regular season games.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's these type of guys that break these records. I mean, that's Don Shula. He was a young head coach when he started, and that's why he's the all-time leader. I mean, I believe George Halas, he even got a pretty early head start himself. So, yes, I mean, it's set up for him to make a run at that if he wants to continue to grind away. And again, with some of these guys too, they say, "Oh yeah, I have no ambition to do that," and all of a sudden they look up 12 years later, and it's like, "Whoa, okay, I'm 48, I'm 50. Well, what else am I going to do? I guess I'll keep doing this." That's how it can kind of happen. But I will say, I think with this like new age group, I don't know, the young regime that we got in the NFL right now, just to name a few, between McVay, Shanahan, LaFleur, I don't feel like. I never felt like they were the type of guys that were going to do this until they were like 75 years old. I didn't. I think there's a little bit of a love for life from these guys to a point where they know they're missing out on some things right now, and it's pedal to the metal, and they work hard as hell, and they live hard as hell. But, man, I know that it takes a toll on these guys. That's why we've heard McVay in the past talk about, and we heard rumors about, is he going to be burned out? Maybe he steps away, the TV stuff, all of that. It's crazy. It's 24/7, 365, all of that. And I think this is a group that, I look at McVay and Shanahan, LaFleur, and that group of guys to where I think they're going to go as hard as they can, and then they'll like crap out. Needle will hit red, and the engine busts somewhere, in the next 10 years, and they got to step away for a few years. That's kind of how I envision that crew really altogether.
But remember what you noticed this year.
Yeah, I know.
About Sean McVay.
I know. You're right. Yes.
When your quarterback isn't Jared Goff,
right,
and it is Matthew Stafford,
yes,
life is a hell of a lot less stressful for Sean McVay.
No doubt.
A lot less stressful.
No doubt. I noticed.
So,
yes.
That's a big factor as well. And
right,
maybe he's learning that as long as I have a great quarterback, easier said than done, but as long as I prioritize taking care of the most important position on the field and have somebody that will run the offense the right way and can make all the throws that need to be made for this offense to be successful, I can keep doing that indefinitely. And the other question these guys have to ask themselves, if I'm not doing what I have spent my life doing, what am I going to do? Especially with the broadcasting seats. This game of musical chairs that we have witnessed this offseason may be once in a generation. It's not like every year the number one job is going to be available at Fox and ESPN and Amazon, and this bidding war breaks out, and Tom Brady money gets thrown in someone's direction. It's not going to happen. It's just not. Now, it'll be interesting if there's a guy like McVay who morphs into the the white whale of broadcasting if one of these other networks would just throw somebody overboard and buy out their contract to get McVay. But for the most part, you're not going to have these opportunities come around. And you're not going to have an easy plan B. Okay, I'm done doing the thing that sucks up all my time, but I still love football. How do I stay involved in it? What's my plan B? Because for a lot of these guys, it's all or nothing.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I either coach and put my life completely into this, or I retire and I golf and I drive kids around to all their activities and I raise African geese. I mean, there's no middle ground unless you land in one of these broadcasting gigs. So it's easy to say.
I know
that these guys aren't going to do it for 40 years, but what else are they going to do? Once they've reached the level where they can do this and succeed, why would you stop?
Yeah,
unless you just physically become worn down.
I hear you. I do. I'd throw the challenge flag on all of that. You're right. I mean, as far as what, the thought, I've had the conversation with Shanahan before a little bit, and yeah, I do. I know when that time comes, like, you talk about, maybe being 46, 48, 50 years old. Oh, I might step away. I've been going at this. I mean, yes, to all these guys, they're psychos in a good way. And the fact that, they're not comfortable unless they have a task or a job or something they got to worry about and a group of people they got to coach and get them better. They get used to not only just the adrenaline and the work and everything like that, but I think with a lot of these guys too, you get a little addicted to the power as well. I mean, you're the king of the castle. So yes, it's fun. It's action-packed. I mean, on a weekly basis, you don't know what the hell you're going to get. It's impossible to replace that intensity in really any other job in life, really. That's where the NFL is exciting as hell. The adrenaline rush on a week-to-week basis, it's irreplaceable for sure. And I hear you, Mike. It's like, yes, when McVay says that, I go, yeah, I get it. And could I see him maybe getting burnt out and then stepping away for a year or two, maybe 3 at some point? Sure. But I could also, I think to your point, if we were sitting here 15 years from now still doing the show and going, man, McVay's still going and there's no sign of stopping, I'd go, well, I'm not shocked by that either. Like you said, and especially with like a guy like McVay, it's in his DNA. It's part of the family business a little bit too. To where, I think it makes it even a little harder to let it go. It was his whole life. This was a target that he wanted to get to. And I hear you, Mike. I don't know if he can just give that away either.
I just hope to be alive in 15 years. I don't know how I feel about the possibility of still working for you in 15 years or with you in 15 years. I'll be working for you in 15 years. Well, and it's funny because my wife and I have this conversation all the time.
Big 5-7 coming up. Big 5-7 coming up. Woo, whoop. No, it won't shut up. You're going to be 57 Wednesday.
All right. So it's funny because I think 15 years into the future, boy, that's really a long time. But then I think 15 years into the past,
and it's
like,
not long, right?
Time go?
Right.
No.
You go, man, that was 42. That seemed like a few weeks ago. I know. It is weird how it works like that. And like 72, come on, that's the new 62. You can do it.
That doesn't make it any more appealing.
I mean, the question is, the only question is like, when you're 72 and we're doing this show, 15 years from now, will you have left the house yet? Will you have actually gotten in your pool by that time?
Possibly.
Okay.
I almost went in the pool this weekend. I almost sat on the edge of the pool and stuck my feet in the water.
Gosh,
I was afraid I was going to drop my phone in the water.
I would throw you in there so fast. I would do anything to be walking behind you.
I once got thrown into my pool with jeans on, and there is nothing that goes from several ounces to 75 pounds
dragging you
than a pair of jeans
that
get wet. My God, they were dragging me to the bottom of the deep end of my pool. It was terrifying for a few seconds. So if you're ever here, which you never will be, don't throw me into the pool with my jeans on.
Okay. I think you made a good point with your quarterback McVay thing, though. That's where I wanted to get to at the end, and I lost track a little bit. I do think you're right. Life is a lot more stressful when, I got to find out all these cute ways to make the offense work, because I can't call some of the traditional 20-yard, 30-yard throws I wanted with Jared Goff. And, oh, my gosh, I'm pulling my hair out. How am I going to find another way to get Robert Woods or somebody behind the line of scrimmage so we can throw it 4 yards in the flat? To where, yeah, this year, I'm sure to your point, he was energized. He was going, oh, man, I haven't been able to run this play. And, whoa, I've always wanted to try this. This guy go that way and this guy go the other way. And, hey, you just throw it as far as you can, Stafford. That, I'm sure, made life more fun for him this year. It did. He told me to my face. And you could see that, in the day I spent with him at the Super Bowl, that he talked about he had a new energy. He was saying that, many, many times throughout the day.
And really between him and Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
Kyle seems, even though McVay has had periods where he seems tormented, I think McVay goes out of his way to sell the glass half full thing all the time. Everything's fine, everything's great, everything's awesome, even if it isn't.
Right.
Kyle just at times looks like he's beaten down and weathered, like he's been out to sea for 9 months by the time the season's over. And you know what? Jimmy Garoppolo's been his quarterback.
I know. You're right. There you go.
Guy who can get us to a certain level but can't push us through the top.
Sure.
And you feel like you're banging your head against the wall if you're the guy's head coach. And again, there's a certain message we get publicly, and then privately he's got to be beside himself at times with some of the things that he does to set the table, and Jimmy G can't sit down and eat the meal.
Right. I think that's exactly right. And I think ultimately that's what you're talking about there, and I'm sure there was probably a few other hair-pulling moments in between there that we don't know about, led to a crazy let me get a drastic decision for a quarterback to do that because of what you're talking about. I think so, especially in the year where it was the COVID year. They struggled. They had just lost to Mahomes in the Super Bowl. That year and the year of the COVID year, they're playing in Arizona. They had to play Buffalo and Josh Allen. They got a good look at some of that, and another guy to go, holy crap, how do you defend a human being like this? This is unbelievable. I really think that was kind of the jump-off point, or the point that hit Shanahan like kind of in the face to go like, I need to get one of these. I got to get one of these guys that, it just doesn't have to be about me drawing up the perfect play every time. And yes, that's what a great quarterback could do. He could take pressure off of everybody that way. You just the playbook is limitless, and then you don't ever have to worry about orchestrating cheap little ways to make the quarterback look good. And I think you're spot on there, Mike. I think it's why they made the move to get Trey Lance.
And this, I believe, has to be tormenting Kyle. Tormenting. Not that I'm happy that he's tormented. I'm not. But I know if I were in his shoes, what would be bothering me is the idea that the way the dominoes fell, 2021 offseason, Brad Holmes goes from the Rams to the Lions and lays the foundation for an easy deal to be done. Offload Jared Goff, pick up Matthew Stafford.
Right.
And next thing you know, the confetti's in the air.
Right.
Just think if they had hired somebody from the 49ers front office to be the GM of the Lions. Think about that.
Yeah, right.
If they had hired Adam Peters to be the GM of the Lions, and once Peters gets settled in, next thing you know, Stafford's looking for a new place, Garoppolo for Stafford. I mean, same trade.
No doubt
same
about
deal.
It. Better for Detroit. You'd rather have Garoppolo than Jared Goff, in my opinion. So, yeah, I hear you. That's how crazy the league is. I mean, it's how close it is. And I would think, yes, that's a real rivalry there. The Rams, the Niners, Shanahan, McVay, they're both whiz kid genius guy. They came from the same coaching tree. Shanahan, was and the Shanahans were there in Washington. McVay was there under him. So yeah, that's got to eat at him, no doubt about it. And the fact that, to like you're saying, the 49ers were one of those teams that tried to jump in, by anybody you talk to in the NFL who tried to jump in on the Matthew Stafford thing once they realized, whoa, like this is really real. He's available. There was a number of teams, Carolina Panthers, there's a few others that, once they realized, whoa, they'll really trade him there as far as Detroit, teams tried to get involved. But like you said, it was already kind of baked in because of the relationship with Brad Holmes and coming from the Rams.
I think one of the reasons why the Washington Commanders moved as quickly as they did to get Carson Wentz, they were
they were another team last year, right?
From the fact that, remember, because people were goofing on the Commanders for calling every team to see if their quarterback was available. Oh, they called. Can you believe those morons called the Chiefs about Patrick Mahomes? But you know what? After you miss the boat completely on Matthew Stafford, of course you're going to call every team. Of course you're going to make sure. Let's make sure. Let's turn over every rock, even the rocks that we know there's nothing under. Yeah. We're turning over every rock so we miss nothing. We do not want to get caught like we did last year. But the difference was it was basically an inside job. It was they needed to get rid of that Goff contract without it being a Brock Osweiler trade. They couldn't just trade Goff to somebody and send a first-round pick, which is what they did. But it wasn't as obvious when you send 2 1s and a 3 for Matthew Stafford and you throw in Jared Goff. It doesn't scream out Brock Osweiler trade, even though it was. They gave up a first-round pick to get rid of the god-awful Jared Goff contract that 3 years ago this month I was shouting, don't give it to him, don't give it to him. And they're acting like I was crazy, and McVay was all dismissive, and they gave it to him.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't wait to get rid of it 2 seasons later. So I don't think anybody was getting Stafford other than the Rams, but I do think that still reverberates. And if I'm Kyle, if there is a quiet moment that I have this offseason, I'm thinking, my God, if they had just hired one of my guys and I could have gotten Stafford, I'd be doing the victory tour. I'd have the Super Bowl. And it does, as you said, to your point, it shows how close it all is.
Yeah.
How close it all is, how tightly packed, and it's a play here, a play there, a development here, a development there that can change everything.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.